we lived in Dallas and had a condo in 2008, 2009 when everything went to pot. So including our value. So I got to, we hired a couple of agents to sell our condo. Throughout that process and asking them a lot of questions, because we had plenty of time because the sucker wasn't selling, I started learning that I was catching on to these concepts very quickly, and I found them interesting. Thinking to myself, I could do this. Real estate is full of a lot of great practitioners, but it is also full of a lot of greedy, self-focused people, and they have no problem coming to your house, sticking a sign in your yard, and collecting a large chunk of your money in the way of commission for doing very little. That was the first thing I noticed, that real estate was very agent and brokerage centered rather than client centered. I've always thought that it's incumbent upon us to help with the things that we're blessed with, to spread it out, whatever cause that may be. For me, it just happened to be just people in general. I didn't know what that looked like at the time, but I knew that I wanted to build a company eventually that was very active and gave back to the community. I actually have grown up that way. I grew up in a house where sometimes the focus was more on other people than it was even in our own house. My mother was an old school LVN. Before RNs came to be, she still had the white hat and the white dress and the white stockings and the sensible shoes and all that stuff. So no, it's always been a part of my fabric, I think, is to just try to add to other people's experience. I want to make sure everyone is directed back to the one who called us to serve one another. I don't care if anybody knows me, but I do care that they know him. And it's my job to show him to whomever. In everyday life, every walk, at the grocery store, at the mailbox, at wherever. I gave my life to Christ when I was 7 years old, but my faith has been so key in overcoming some dark times. And recently, with medical issues and stuff in my life, I have really come to see who God really is, and I want to do everything that I can to tell everybody else how great He is. Faith is at the core of everything I do. My faith, my belief in God is just paramount. It's the centerpiece of everything. On June 10th, I went into a local doc in the box with some abdominal pain. I thought I had some sort of constipation, some sort of gas I couldn't get rid of. Held on to it for 2 days and it wouldn't go away, and it just got to a point where I was doubled over. So they of course didn't have what they needed to assess it. So they sent me over to the ER, still a small little ER, and they did some blood work. Blood work all came back fine, but they did a CT scan, and so after about 5-6 hours, the PA came in and closed the door behind her and sat down, and that's never a good sign. And she said, "You need to follow up with a GI oncologist because what you have is a mass that is looking and acting like cancer." And so that flipped my world on its head. And so it turns out on June 19th, I got the official diagnosis of stage 4 metastatic colon cancer. It has metastasized to the liver. And I've since been going through treatments with chemo. And there's a treatment plan following that. And so we've just been using this. It's humbled me. It's brought me back to where I realized that I am not Superman. No matter how strong or mentally tough I think I am, I still have to rely on him in a lot of ways. So there's the challenges that come with that. The miracle is I'm doing 95% better than most of the people in my position, and my outlook is good, and I believe he's going to completely heal me cancer free. And so I'm just, when I feel down, I'm going to use that. When I feel up, I'm going to use that. So it affects, my son is seemingly unaffected. My wife has taken it pretty hard, and she's very scared of the words stage 4 metastatic, because, you know, in years past that was basically a death sentence. Cancer, it's not so much in the physical as it is the mental and emotional that you really fight and you really battle. I do have to commend my wife. She's always been a lover of people, but even more so now. That I think that she can empathize with struggles a little bit more now. So she's a lot more open and a lot more caring. I didn't think it was possible that she could be more caring than she is of other people, but she has become even more so. Empathy is what is lacking in interactions with people. Where I am now, though, I feel, as crazy as it sounds, I feel freer than I've ever felt. I feel empowered. I feel bolder than I've ever felt, because I know the guy who's got it all figured out. None of this was surprising to him. If anything, this diagnosis in the last few years has taught me the value of building a team of people around you, no matter what it is. It's the same thing in real estate. I don't go into a transaction ready to show off my negotiation skills and get one over on that agent and get as much for my client as possible and all that stuff. It's about making two parties comfortable with everything that's going on and make them feel like they're making a good decision for their family and their future. Being that I am a fireman and a paramedic, and I've worked in the hospitals and stuff, and I have close friends there, police officers, I have close friends who are teachers, healthcare workers, ministry leaders and faith leaders are just so important to me in the way I see their effect on the community, their impact on the community. What we are set up to do is to serve those people. Those are the people that we want to serve most. We give back directly to those groups that I spoke about out of the transaction. It's not in the way of a credit. It's a meaningful, like sizable check that they actually hold in their hands to do with whatever and it's just our way of saying thank you for what you do. We also look for ways that we can sponsor. It may be an organization that is in support of police and fire. It may be in doing a blanket drive for homeless veterans. But these people are core. I think they're the backbone of our nation, and especially teachers and ministry leaders, because they take care of our mental and spiritual side, which everything branches out of that. The veterans are the ones that make it possible for us to do whatever we want here. Our first responders are the ones who are taking care and protecting their families while they're over there protecting us. And then, of course, the healthcare workers, they're patching us up when we need it. And a lot of that goes in, there's a lot of emotional care that healthcare providers offer that I think goes unseen and unspoken of. And so my goal with Firehouse Real Estate, and our goal, is to just remind those people constantly that they are important and they matter to us. So that's where we choose to serve.